This is Let's Talk Chattanooga Real Estate, the podcast where we cover home buying, home selling, home improvement tips and ideas, market trends and developments, and investing in real estate. If you own real estate in the Chattanooga, Tennessee area, or want to own real estate here, then you're in the right place. Let's Talk Chattanooga Real Estate is hosted by Blake Watson, a real estate agent and investor in Tennessee and Georgia.
Welcome to Let's Talk Chattanooga Real Estate. I am Blake Watson with Epic Realty, and I am licensed in Tennessee and Georgia. And today, our guest is Orly Cohen. She is a mortgage loan officer with First Bank. And Orly, it's great to have you on the show.
Thanks so much, Blake. I appreciate it.
Tell me about this awesome program. It is called Welcome Home.
Yes. So Welcome Home is a fabulous grant, and it comes out at the beginning of March every year. A buyer who's eligible is able to get $20,000 towards down payment or closing costs to buy a home. So that is one of the largest grants I have available and one that I love. It does come and go quickly. It only comes out at the beginning of March, and we have a few grants available, and when they're done, they're done. So I always like to let everyone know about it ahead of time so we can talk and see if a client is eligible and it would work for their situation and get them ready. We would love to have them under contract prior to March 3rd so that I can go ahead and submit the request and try to get approval prior to closing.
You mentioned that this is up to $20,000 in a grant for down payment.
Yes.
What does that mean?
The only requirement money-wise for the borrower is that they must contribute at least $500 of their own funds. And otherwise, we put in for a grant for $20,000 to apply towards closing costs and or down payment.
Wow. Okay. And it's a timely thing because we need to get our applications in right away, it sounds like,
yes.
if that's going to be happening.
Yes.
And then
exactly.
And then did you say that, do you have to close by March, or do you get approved by March? How does that work?
Not at all. So March 3rd is when they first open. I can't even submit an application for the grant until the morning of March 3rd. So ideally, we have someone under contract in February, and I have them pre-qualified, and I have their contract, and then I submit. And we actually have to submit this to the issuing bank that we coordinate with, and they have to approve the grant. So I really need 4 to 6 weeks after the opening in March in order to close. So this would be for a closing sometime mid-April or later.
Gotcha.
The great thing is it's also eligible for new home construction. So as long as someone's under contract and we submit at the beginning of March, they can close any time as long as it closes by December 15th of this year and still use those funds if they're approved.
Wow. Okay. So I get that. So a new construction would be ideal because something could just be getting rolling at this point.
New construction would be amazing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I often have people who, are closing in July or August, and that gives us more than enough time to make sure we have these funds and know they have it to apply at closing.
Now, as I understand it, you don't have to be a first-time home buyer.
That's correct. This is for first-time home buyers or people who have owned before. If you're a first-time home buyer, there is home buyer education required, but it can go for either. There are income limits, and those vary by county, so that is one thing that we need to be aware of, and that is for household, just so you know.
Okay, household income. And by county, but let's be clear,
yes.
too, this particular program is available in Tennessee. I think you mentioned
correct.
some other states, Kentucky and
Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio.
And Ohio. Okay. So it is available in Tennessee. So if we're in Hamilton County, Bradley County, Sequatchie County, any of these counties in Tennessee, it's a possibility that you're going to be able to do this.
Exactly. To give you an idea of the income limits for 1 to 2 people in Hamilton County, the household income can't be above $73,076. If there are 3 or more people, it can go up to $84,038. So that kind of gives you and your clients a little idea of where that range is for that county.
Okay. Now, is this a separate program that would kick you out of any other options, or can it be, so to speak, stacked on top of another assistance program or low-interest options?
Sure. That's a great question. This actually can be stacked with other programs. So we definitely, depending on the loan type, have a lot of potential to get even more money than the $20,000.
Wow. Okay. And you have other programs that maybe we don't know about readily? I mean, I know there's THDA, but are there other programs that you use frequently that you'd like to tell us about?
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, THDA is one of them. We do have several other programs depending on the loan type. If you are FHA, THDA is going to be the best one, but otherwise we do have other loan programs where no money down is required and or this welcome home money can also contribute. So yes, definitely things that are available so a homeowner can potentially get into a home with, not coming in with, $500.
Yeah. I mean, that's amazing
towards the home.
That potentially you could just walk into a home with $500, which, I mean, that's not even going to pay rent in Chattanooga anywhere, really. So that's amazing that you could do that and buy a home. Now, are there any kind of home price limits? The sale price, does it need to be in a certain price range? Or, I mean, you've got to obviously qualify with the...
Right. Yeah. Not for welcome home, it doesn't.
Not for welcome home. Of course, some of the other programs do have limitations on the price of the property. And funds are available for reservation. Now, are you competing with every other lender, or is this something that First Bank has an exclusive on, or is it just a handful of banks, or what?
Welcome Home is not exclusive to First Bank, but there aren't that many banks around that have it, that participate as a member in the program. It's with a bank out of Ohio, so you do have to be participating with that bank in order to offer it, so someone, couldn't just open up their own mortgage shop and offer it.
Gotcha. It's not readily available everywhere. You'd have to be looking for it, and obviously it's easy enough to look at First Bank. We've got your branches all over town, so it's easy enough.
Right.
Is there anything else that kind of stands out with this program that we would need to be aware of?
I mean, one of the reasons I love this program, not only is it so much money to get someone into a home, but it also goes away after 5 years, which means that $20,000 you got, if you stay in the home for 5 years or more, you don't have to pay it back, which is very unusual for a lot of assistance programs. Many of them you have to pay the money back, which is still wonderful, right? You got to use it for however long you're in the home, but this one doesn't get paid back after 5 years, and even if you leave prior, the payback is prorated monthly.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's wonderful. And if you've put investment into the home, you can deduct that from what you owed as well. So if you replace a roof or something like that, that can, offset some of the money you got.
Wow, great stuff. So 5 years just for the standard, if you buy the property using this program, 5 years, up to $20,000 in the grant money is just forgiven after 5 years.
Yes.
Wow.
Exactly.
Now, this up to $20,000, how do we know whether we're going to get $500, $10,000, $15,000? How do we know?
Well, I would apply for $20,000 unless someone didn't need it, right? Someone might only need $10,000 in assistance, for one reason or another, so they might not apply for the full amount.
Okay, so apply to the 20 if necessary or needed.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
And as long as that much is left once their application goes through.
That's right, because there is a pool of money. As you'd mentioned, there's a pool of money, and once that pool of money is committed, I guess, would be the issue, right? Not actually paid out, but committed?
That's right. Correct.
Yeah. Once that pool of money is committed, then those deals are no longer available. So that's why the urgency of having an application in to you and a contract by March 3rd.
Yes. Ideally, we get someone pre-approved here soon. You're able to find them a home, get them under contract with a closing date of, mid-April or later. That would be ideal.
Okay. So I'm just thinking through the process here so we can make sure we get it right. First, probably is we need to get an application to you. If I'm looking to buy a house, get an application to you really ASAP so that you can start the process.
Yeah, I'm someone who wants to tailor the loan and the payment and everything to my clients. So I'm not someone who just throws out my website and wants all these applications flooding in. I like to get to know my clients, see where they are, see what their job situation is, see what max payment they want each month so that I can make sure that, as I'm working the application, I do it personally and I do it in a way that they're comfortable with. A payment clients are comfortable with. You and I don't want anyone to be house poor. We want them to be happy in their house, but we want the payment to be comfortable. So I always love to have an initial conversation. I am available by text or phone or email all the time, and happy to talk anything through. But yes, if we can get people pre-approved so that you're able to have a pre-approval letter, go see the properties, and getting pre-approved on the front end, I know, Blake, you agree, is so important.
Oh, yeah.
It's important for the clients and it's important for you so that they're looking at the properties that are in their price range with a payment they're comfortable with. That's so important.
I speak to so many folks, especially first-time home buyers, that have the question of, is it too soon to apply for a loan? And I always tell them that it's never too soon to start talking to your loan officer.
Correct.
And the loan officer will guide you as to when the application needs to be actually done.
Exactly. And when I do an application, the credit pull is good for 4 months. So a lot of people, think it expires in 30 days. It doesn't. You have 4 months before that credit expires. So there's lots of time for people who are ready. Now, if I speak to someone and they are 6 or 9 months out and just want a plan, I'm happy to do that as well, and probably won't do a credit pull. I'm very sensitive about not doing a credit pull too early or too often to make sure we keep their score as high as possible because it's so important.
Yeah, right. And that's where your professional guidance can help them. And you're not just going to automatically pull a credit report, and you're also not going to automatically say this is the program for them. It might be Welcome Home might be perfect, but you're going to have other opportunities and other options available. It's
exactly.
Just this one is kind of a big deal. And it's really cool, and
yes,
and it's available.
It's timely right now.
It is timely, yeah. Now this is available in Tennessee. Do you do work in Georgia as well?
I do. I'm able to do loans in Tennessee, Georgia, Kentucky, really 45 states in the country. So lots of possibilities. I have plenty of clients who buy in Tennessee and get a second home or an investment property in Florida or Alabama. I do plenty of work all over. I mean, Welcome Home has been such a blessing for so many people, but it's especially wonderful. I once used the Welcome Home grant to help get a teacher into a home, which she would have never been able to save this kind of money otherwise. So, $20,000 is a lot of money. Takes a long time to save that up. So I used to be a teacher myself, part of the reason I love doing lending, because I really view it as an opportunity to teach people about the money and how the flow of the money works in home buying, and just to be able to help someone who wouldn't otherwise be able to afford it is wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's great, Orly. And my wife's a teacher, and my daughter is a first responder. So I bring that up because both of them, are serving our community and serving serving the public, and programs that help them to be able to afford to buy a house are just great. Those are good things.
Exactly.
How would someone reach you if they wanted to talk to you about this Welcome Home program?
Absolutely. I am available, like I said, by phone or text anytime. My phone number is 615-243-3303. If they prefer email, my email is orly.cohen@firstbankonline.com, which is ORLY.COHEN, like Nancy, at firstbankonline.com.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, Orly.
Absolutely. I appreciate it, Blake.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much.
And if you want to get in touch with Orly and you missed any of that, certainly I'll have that in the show notes. You can also contact me and I will connect you with Orly. That is not a problem. We'll get you in touch. I'm Blake Watson with Epic Realty. My office phone number is 888-893-3537. You can reach me by cell phone easily at 423-315-1815. You can also find me on Facebook and LinkedIn as Blake Watson, and I'm on Instagram as Rock and Roll Blake. Please follow this podcast so that you won't miss any future episodes. And until next time, I wish you all the best in your real estate journey.